Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 493. I am Brendan. All right, PFL number 7 of this year, 2027. This is going to be the semifinals that took place in Chicago. Fabian Edwards taking on Josh Silveira. The rest of those, we're going to go through the card. We're going to talk about, I think, all the fights on the card this time. If you like this format, you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That way the next video is coming out, I really appreciate it. Let's just start talking about it. And again, I bitch about this every time because it's so annoying, but the PFL, the smart cage, the blah, 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 all of the technology and the stats that they have, they still don't give us stats for the fight. Their website sucks. Everything takes forever to load. Everything. I end up using Gibbs stats to just pull up what happened. And even then, it's not the fight round by round stats. So I apologize that I don't have those like I normally do for the UFC. That being said, let's get into this. I know I missed 2 events, 5 and 6. I know I did. I was busy both weeks those happened. I wasn't here for one of them. It is what it is. Let's talk about Fabian Edwards versus Joshua Silveira. Okay, this fight was actually pretty darn good. Got a little sloppy when they got tired, but it was entertaining to watch, right? This PFL was relatively entertaining. I would argue, nope, it wasn't better than the UFC, that's for sure. But it was relatively entertaining to watch. So Fabian Edwards comes out. You know what he's going to do. He's looking to strike. He's looking to defend the takedowns. Josh Silveira, pretty much the opposite, right? He'll strike, but he's looking for the takedowns. He's looking to get to the grappling exchanges against a guy like Edwards. Both guys trade in low kicks early. Edwards seems to land harder. Silveira checks some of them and then starts landing his own. Actually took Edwards off his feet with like his second one. But Silveira just looked wide-eyed and not nervous, but erratic in his movements. Edwards looked much more smooth and comfortable. Edwards is the cleaner boxer, and when Silveira moved into range, every single time, Edwards would counter really well. Silveira would still land, right? They would have, this first round was pretty darn even on the feet. Edwards grabs the inside of the gloves as he's being pressed to the fence. He gets warned about it, blah, blah, blah. Both guys landing well on the feet. Silveira shoots a single. They end up in a weird position, but he eventually gets on top, lands some good ground and pound. Silveira takes his first round, 10-9. Second round, Silveira doing a decent job with the pressure, stopping Edwards, but, he's stopping Edwards from staying clean. He goes for a single leg, getting him down, isn't able to do anything with it, and then Silveira's sporadic movements start to slow down, and that kind of spelled the beginning of the end for him. It wasn't a foregone conclusion. He wasn't a total ass out there, but Edwards really started to take over. You could see it midway through the second round, really starting to land. Edwards started controlling the ground and the ground game as well. Ended the round in a little bit of defense position up top, but clearly his round 19-19 going to third round. Now Edwards in the last round, mixing it up, looking clean. Silveira not moving well on his feet. Eventually Edwards gets a takedown, gets him down, gets his back for a second. Silveira just so tired. He's losing all the grappling exchanges. He's hurt to the body. Wasn't able to get it done. Edwards gets a win here, 29-28. Gets a unanimous decision. Manages to make it to the finals. He's going to be a tough test for Dalton Rosta, who we will talk about later. All right. Good fight, though. Entertaining fight. Very professional. So for the PFL, the Professional Fighters League, finally coming up with professional-looking fights. All right. Sullivan Cauley versus Phil Davis is the co-main event. I didn't really appreciate the commentary that much in the first round for this one. A little bit of biased stuff, as usual. You expect it from guys like John McCarthy, and I appreciate not John McCarthy as much. I appreciate what he did for the sport, but as a commentator and like an analyst on the side, I really don't appreciate it. He's not for me. I don't think he's horrible. It's just not for me. And then you got Randy Couture, who's very biased. You got the PFL crew. They're very biased in the way they talk. If they took one thing from Bellator, it's the biased nature of the way they speak. Cauley on the front foot, jabbing to the body, moving over the top with that right hand. Davis looking to counter with that right hand, digging that lead kick to the body, going low with them sometimes, but Cauley's throwing punches from far out and adjusting. So every time, this is the thing that they weren't picking up on. Cauley was throwing these punches from way too far out of range as Davis would back up. But the thing is, as he's backing up, his body's still exposed. Like he backs up with his head back. Cauley's able to land to the body. Those shots count. Cauley's landing a huge right hand. He landed a huge right hand as Davis enters. He did this multiple times in the fight. Biggest success for Davis in this round was some grappling exchanges. I thought that he did okay in the striking, but his grappling was the biggest difference maker for him. That being said, the damage went to Cauley. 10-9. Easy for me to score. More of the same in the second round. Cauley overswings. Davis gets a body lock, holds him down on the ground for 2 minutes. Did not do too much damage with it, though. Cauley really needed a big shot to win this round, and as I'm writing that, he lands a head kick, wobbles him a little bit, follows up with a right hand, and puts him down. And that's what took this second round. Big second round for him, 20-18. If he doesn't do that, if the third round goes the same way, it's the same, but that was such a difference maker, so I have him up 2-0. Last round, Cauley in his face with that right hand again, and Davis shoots a takedown. Can't get it this time. His grappling was not as dominant as I thought it would be throughout the entire fight. I thought he for sure would be able to get a takedown, be able to control him. He did it in the second round a little bit. It didn't pay off as much because he didn't end up winning that round, but I thought he could do it again in this third round. On my scorecard, I had him down 2 rounds already, so it wouldn't have mattered for me. But the way the commentary was speaking, they're like, "Oh, Davis, it's 1-1. Davis clearly won that first round." Davis presses him to the cage with the takedown. They get right back up. Jabs from Cauley are stopping him from moving in, so he's starting to jab out there. Davis can't step into range. Really good stuff from him. Both guys digging deep. Here's the difference maker. Neither guy looked, they were both exhausted. Right? They're very tired, but both guys dug deep. The difference maker, like I was saying, is Cauley's digging deep was with the striking. Davis's digging deep ended up being just grappling. And when the push comes to shove, the scoring criteria favors damage first, so Cauley wins this round. He won at 30-27 on 2 scorecards and 29-28, so at least the judges were actually paying attention to this one. So he advances to the finals. I'm actually pretty excited about that. Him versus Carlos Jr. That's going to be a great fight. I'm excited for that. Sergio Pettis taking Raufeon Stots. This was just a showcase fight. This was really fun to watch. I kind of don't want to break this one down too much because I don't want this video to go too long. We'll just talk about it overall. Okay. Pettis was doing a really good job on the feet early on. So Stots was having, he looked like he was, Pettis just looked like he was one step ahead in the range management, right? Stots wasn't doing a horrible job, but every time he would move into range where you'd figure like, oh, he's going to land, Pettis would just adjust a little bit to get out of range. So he wasn't taking a lot of damage. He was doing really good damage in this first round. It was back and forth. Stots gets a takedown near the end. He wasn't able to do anything, but Pettis was up on the scorecards in this first round for sure. 10-9. Second round, Stots gets a takedown, holds him down the entire round, so it's 19-19. And in the third round, Stots wanted that takedown again. You could tell the way he was kind of waiting for Pettis to overcommit and possibly go for that spinning back fist yet again. It just never came to fruition until right before the end of the round yet again with 36 seconds left, and Pettis had already banked so much damage in that round to put him over the top. So I had him winning 29-28, and that's how the judges saw it as well. All right, moving on to ones that actually matter for the tournament. This fight was fantastic. This fight was really good. Aaron Jeffery versus Dalton Rosta. Right, this fight was very good. The score could have gone 30-27 either direction. I'm not kidding. This was a legitimate time where the subjective nature of damage could have taken the fight in either direction, 30-27, and no one should be mad about that. Jeffery was jabbing his way forward, keeping Rosta on the outside of the cage. That kind of played out the entire fight. Rosta looking for that lead hook, trying to stay off the fence. So he would throw that lead hook and then circle off the fence to stop Jeffery from pinning him there. Jeffery landing some solid low kicks, bringing some to the body as he pushes him to the cage. Rosta landing nasty shots inside the clinch, countering with the low kick and the lead hook. But he keeps getting pushed to the fence, and I thought that was going to spell mean disaster for him as the fight went on. I mean, Okay, so this first round is very close. I didn't see damage too much in favor of either person. Now, I understand that Rosta probably outstruck him, but Jeffery landed enough big shots as well. I thought it was close enough. If you thought it was definitive for Rosta, I understand, but it depends on how you grade them. I gave this first round to Jeffery. 10-9. I could see it for Rosta. I totally understand, but the way that I was watching it looked like Jeffery did enough damage and then controlled the cage enough. So that's 10-9 for him. Second round, Jeffery with the pressure, walking through the shots of Rosta, landing his own shots. Rosta was able to get him against the cage for a bit, and with the strikes he landed, that could make the difference in this round, right? If nothing else changes, and nothing else did. Very close round with Rosta able to land damage and get some control for himself. Right. So because he evened out the control time and the damage was relatively even, possibly in Rosta's favor because he is throwing the bigger shots, even if some of them are blocked, it's very difficult to tell in the moment exactly which one landed and with how much emphasis because neither guy rocked the other one. So I had it 19-19 going into the third round. Could be 20-18 either way. Last round, Jeffery really wearing on him in this round, smothering him against the fence. Rosta ends around with a flurry. A lot of them might have been blocked up top but the body shots definitely landed. Hard round to score, but I leaned towards Jeffery. I felt like he did enough damage. He banked enough damage in that round and controlled the cage enough. So I had him winning 29-28. So the scorecards were as follows. 30-27 for Jeffery. Totally understand. 29-28 for Rosta. Totally understand. And then 29-28 for Rosta. Very close fight. Very close rounds. But Rosta ends up taking it on two judges' scorecards. Very, very, very close. I don't think anybody should be upset about this one. I thought it was a competitive fight. All right. Antonio Carlos Jr. taking on Simeon Powell. This one had moments in the last round where I was like, oh, well, if he fought like that, maybe this would have been competitive. Hey, first round, Carlos Jr. pressuring in, Powell circling the outside of the cage. Carlos Jr. holds him against the cage, and even in space, Carlos Jr. was doing the damage, right? He's landing the better strikes, landing that jab, loading up with that right hand. Powell finally is landing the jab as the round goes on, throwing that right hand, but he's been so tentative. He's really afraid to let go. Powell just didn't do anything in this round, so I had a 10-9 to Carlos Jr. Second round, more of the same. Carlos Jr. takes him down along the fence, stays on the back. Powell's doing a good job of getting back to his feet in space and getting to space, but he's spending so much time waiting or being controlled. And, Powell's best work in this second round was a sprawl near the end, right? A sprawl where he was able to land a little bit of ground and pound, but really just not get taken down. That's not how you win a fight. So 20-18 for Carlos Jr. going to the third round. And then in this third round, Powell can find success with the 1 and 2s, but every time he stays in there, he doesn't bring his hands back up. He doesn't bring his guard back up, and he's getting countered. Powell finally starting to throw more with 70 seconds left. He just waited too long. Thing is, Carlos Jr. slips. Powell's able to get on top and land some ground and pound to end this fight, and he wins this last round. I had a 29-28. That's how the judges saw it. The thing is, he waited way too long to do it. So it's just, it's one of those ones where it had potential, and, Powell might have been saving his energy. It's easy for me to Monday morning quarterback it here, but I feel like he could have won this fight had he turned it up just a little bit in that second round. That first round, the feeler round, not really knowing what's going on, fine. But in that second round, had he turned it up just a little bit, maybe he would have done. All right, this one was bad. This ended in, this is so stupid. So stupid. Valentin Moldavsky taking on Alexander Romanov, the big giant dude who bombed out of the UFC. Romanov in his face, landing some shots with some sloppy boxing. Moldavsky goes for a takedown, but Romanov belly-to-belly suplexes him. These are heavyweights. He lifted a guy who weighs 240 pounds up in the air and slammed him down and landed on top, smothering him. Moldavsky eventually gets back up by grabbing the fence a couple times, stopping more takedowns like that. Only gets warned, no point deduction, no severe warning, nothing, just in the moment, hey, stop grabbing the fence. Kind of stupid. In space, they're both swinging. Neither guy, and they trade, but neither guy landing flush. Romanov landing knees along the fence, and then Moldavsky lands a knee to Romanov's nuts. Now, Romanov doesn't want to continue, and it's a no contest. This is unfortunate, right? Romanov advances to the finals. The judges have decided that he was winning the round. I agree. I think Romanov was winning this round, and he was on his way to 10-9 it. but it's kind of silly, right? The guy who gets kicked in the nuts wins the fight by not wanting to continue. I am all in favor of, here, how do I put this? As a fan of fighting, and seeing fights, as a fan of watching fights and enjoying the actual back and forth, the fighting, right? I'm very disappointed in this. I hate this shit, and it's depressing. I think that when this kind of stuff happens, it's one of the biggest stains on the sport, right? When an illegal shot causes the fight not to continue. But as someone, I wouldn't consider myself an analyst because I don't really analyze anything. I'm just a fan. But as someone who has watched enough fights, thousands of them, and seen people continue when they took damage illegally, and seeing fighters win when they commit fouls with almost no punishment, I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this because, hear me out, this shows that if you throw an illegal strike, there are consequences. Not only does he lose this fight, he doesn't advance in this tournament. It means he doesn't fight for the title in this tournament. He doesn't fight for $1 million. That's a big deal. I think this should happen more often. It is hard as a fighter, from their perspective, to just lay down and quit because they can't continue because of a foul. And it's also hard, like I said, as a fan, to root for someone to not want to continue. But I think it will help kind of guide the sport in the right direction as far as how the referees and the organizations treat fouls. It has gotten out of control. I have bitched about it for far too long. I'm exhausted from doing it. Every time it happens, I go on tirades and rants, and I know other people do as well. It is not acceptable that we just shuffle off these fouls like, oh, well, they're fighters, they need to continue. No, bullshit. This is a profession. They are professionals. They get paid to do this. The people who are in charge of adjudicating the damages and the punishments need to take this just as serious. There's no this fighter mentality, you must continue, none of that crap. That is not your job. Your job is to assess whether or not there was an illegal strike, punish the person who did the illegal strike or illegal action, punish them immediately, and then if the fight happens to not continue, to assess intent. That is how this goes. And there should be no two ways about it. I'm sick of it, and I'm kind of glad that this happened. It shows kind of the ridiculousness of where the sport has gone. Because people's reaction shows it. They're like, oh, this is bullshit. No, it's not. What's bullshit is being kicked in the nuts repeatedly and then losing a fight because you got kicked in the nuts and the other guy getting bonuses. All right, Biaggio, Ali Walsh taking on Ronnie Gibbs. Ooh, look, no pictures. This is just a showcase bout. Ali Walsh was doing a great job on the feet. He kneed him in the nuts at one point. This is one of those times. He was he was doing such a good job on the feet. He landed so much damage. I had this round of 10-8. It was one-way traffic. Second round, Gibbs is getting beat up on the feet yet again, but shoots a single leg, gets on top, and then gets a finish via arm triangle. Really shows, that this guy, this homegrown talent, Ali Walsh, this homegrown talent for PFL, needs a lot of work in his game, right? That was not the tightest arm triangle, and there, again, needs a lot of work. All right, Oleg Popov taking on Rodrigo Nascimento. Wow, no picture here, but he's got a picture here. I like it how it's just him at the beach. Popov going for the low kicks, Nascimento countering with the long jab and the right hand. Popov getting the takedown easily, pulling that leg out in the hip ride. Whole round, he's just controlling him. Popov clearly takes this round 10-9. Second round, Nascimento starts throwing big hooks, standing straight up in the air, gets taken down again. Nascimento just couldn't do anything. He landed a couple shots amidst the scrambles, but really was controlled this entire fight. 2018, last round, more of the same. Popov actually outlanded him in this last round. Nasty right hand, but every time he would land some big damage, he would go back into the clinch. That's his bread and butter. That's what he was looking for. 30-27. Advancing to the finals. So we're going to have Popov versus Romanov. That's going to be interesting. Big dudes. See if Romanov wants to quit again. Again, I'm okay with it. Doesn't mean I can't talk shit. You're going to have, for light heavyweight, you have Carlos Jr. Versus, Sullivan Cauley. That's going to be a good one. I'm excited for that. And then Edwards versus Rosta for middleweight. Also very good. So that is it. I know I haven't covered the PFL in a few weeks, but I figured I watched them, took notes, might as well make a video on it. So I appreciate y'all for stopping by. It means a lot to me. Subscribe to the channel the way the next video is coming out. And if you like this video, hit the like button. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing week. Love y'all. Peace.